Welcome to Women Who Transcend, a safe space where we reflect on, reimagine, and redefine what it means to be a modern woman.
At Women Who Transcend, we cover topics such as abundant living, femininity, wellness, and financial independence to help women live their best lives. Hey, sis.
Hey, sis.
Are you ready to transcend?
I'm ready. Let's get to it.
Today, I am really excited to talk about this conversation. I feel that this is kind of the base and the foundation of why we created Women Who Transcend. And it's really because I feel that we are in a world that is, quite frankly, over-indexed in our masculine, right? And so many of us are, striving in our careers or owning our own businesses or just juggling a family, right? And so a lot of that requires more of the masculine side, which is, trying to make decisions and delegate and analyze and be logical. And so because of this, what I notice is that a lot of women are like, I'm happy when it comes to my career and I'm happy when it comes to the businesses, but I just feel like there's something missing. I feel like there's some type of imbalance, right? And so today's conversation, we're going to talk about the feminine transcendence journey, which is essentially really embarking on awakening your feminine energy. What does that look like? I really want me and Ashley to share our personal stories of how we started our, feminine energy journeys. And I really want to, connect with each and every one of you today so we can really just share these amazing stories. And so the reason why we created Women Who Transcend was because we wanted to create a community. And this community is a safe space. It's a safe space where men and women can share, their journeys on awakening their feminine energy, right? And quite often, if you have listened to us before, we always talk about how this journey can be quite lonely sometimes. Sometimes you're trying to tell your friend, you're excited, hey, I started my femininity journey, and they look at you like you're crazy. I've even seen things like, I don't know, actually, if you experienced this, where someone's like, are you joining a cult? What does that mean? Just some craziness. And so we wanted to create this safe space where people can just freely and openly talk about it, ask questions, share their ideas or testimonies. And so Ashley, before we, talk about what does a feminine transcendence journey look like, I want us to get a little vulnerable, right? And for us to share what actually our own feminine energy journey is. So Ashley, can you just share how did it start and where did you begin your feminine energy journey?
This, oh goodness, where did it all begin? It's actually really refreshing to reflect back on it now, sitting in this seat that I occupy, because if I just think back to pretty much the last 20 years or so, I feel like really my reconnection to the feminine, or I should say this, my detachment from my feminine energy really started at a younger age. I had a destabilizing event that happened in my life in my later teenage years. And from then, I was really focused on survival. I was really focused on making sure that I could create the best future for myself. And that catapulted me into the industry of finance. And it just made me very singularly focused on just having a sense of security. And if we think about the masculine energy, it does create a sense of security and safety. And so I spent the greater part of that time really kind of trying to move forward. I was extremely career focused. I still am. I'll say that. I work in the venture capital space, so I'm still in finance. I still really love that career path, but now I associate it to it in a very different way. But I feel that I feel like my body and my energy had been yearning to get reconnected over those years. And I would do small things, but the major culminating event was probably COVID. And the reason being is I was forced to slow down. For my work, I traveled, multiple times a week. I was up in the air, flying about, juggling multiple responsibilities in nonprofit work and social life. And I just was go, go, go. And I didn't realize until I had to sit down, I was forced to sit down and be in my own home, like what my nervous system really needed and how much I was yearning for this rest, for this restfulness, for this introspection, and then also for an opportunity to just reconnect with myself on different levels. And it has had such a transformative reaction and vibration throughout my entire life. And when I say that, it has transformed the way that I work. It has transformed the way that I connect with others, both men and women. It has transformed the way that I view myself. Chika and I talk about this all the time, but reconnecting to the feminine is 90% about doing that inner work. And then, 10% about doing that external work about like what you look like and all that stuff. Really, Chika and I are focused on the inner work, the self-confidence, the self-worth, the acceptance. And I felt that I was strong in those areas, probably a little bit overconfident, but I had created this exterior kind of armor for myself. And I was walking through life that way, more so rooted in my masculine energy. And so now the feeling that I have in my body and in myself is that I'm very structurally strong, meaning that I have a really strong inner core. I know what I stand for. I know what I want to achieve. I know how I want to connect. I have a stronger attunement with my body and with my intuition. But so the strength went internally, and externally, I'm much more warm and accepting and magnetic, and I'm able to attract and bring resources to me easily. And the feeling is just amazing. And so, it's funny, Chika and I laugh about this. I didn't even know what the term feminine energy meant, and until like the last few years. And I was like, oh, this is actually a thing. And like diving into this rabbit hole has had such an impact on my life. So that's kind of a little bit about my story. Always happy to dive deeper into any subject, but I want to hear from you, Chika. Share a little bit about your experience.
Yeah, Ashley. And before I share my experience, I just want to say, as your friend and sister, I really just enjoyed watching you bloom literally with this adventure. And I just seen how it's impacted you, so I really just enjoyed watching this journey on you. And I feel that that's the power of sharing it with others, right? That feminine collective spirit and being able to just have someone that can support you and hold you accountable. So it's really been beautiful to watch. And I hope more people experience it. I have been in the tech space for over 10 years. And I was actually running my own HR software startup. And so you can imagine I was constantly on a plane and I was wearing multiple hats, not only as a CEO, but I'm fundraising. I literally was at one point in Silicon Valley for about 6 months. I'm, running a team. I'm dealing with different emotions of a team. I'm the salesperson as well, because as a CEO, you're at times the biggest salesperson in your organization. And there was just a lot going on. And so when I decided to resign and exit from the company, I thought that would be the weight that needed to be lifted for me to feel different. And I realized that it was something deeper and it was something more that I needed. And I physically felt the ramifications of being way over indexed in my masculine for years, right? And so I literally stumbled on a website and she had a quiz and I took the quiz. And then, after the quiz, she was sharing, this is your power and this is feminine energy. And this is how you can, become a more powerful woman if you really understand the benefits of feminine energy. And I was like, this is interesting. And just like Ashley, I went down a rabbit hole and I have not looked back ever since. And so I've taken so many courses, read so many books. I literally have mentors in this subject. One of them is Chloe. We brought her on a few weeks back to connect and talk to us. And it's just been an amazing journey for myself. I feel different in my body. And what's interesting is that I've been doing this work for years, but I feel the real testament is actually my friends, because so many of my friends are are now saying, you know, Chica, I just see this glow within you. I feel the difference. I see the soft side of you. And it's really just been amazing to also get that feedback from people who are close to me and know me best. And I feel that, you know, and I tell women all the time that it is cyclical. So no, just because you have started your femininity journey and you're learning and practicing does not mean that you will never get over indexed in your masculine. There's definitely times where Ashley or myself, we, you know, maybe because there's a project that we're working on, or there's some type of, you know, just something that's happening in our life. I know Ashley, you know, recently would talk about something that was happening with her, and she had to kind of use some of the feminine resource tools that we've created to kind of get her back into balance. So it's cyclical. There are going to be times when you're more in your masculine, but I feel that once you start to understand the power of feminine energy, which is being soft and being still and being present and being connected with your body and being able to track your emotions at any given time, then you know when to, you know, use certain resources to tap back in. So that's my story. There's definitely more layers to it. I don't want to bore you guys with all the different details, but like I said before, it truly has been transformational, and I'm just so excited that I went on it. And so now over to Ashley, I really want to kind of talk about what is a feminine transcendence plan, because people have heard feminine energy, and you know, we are women who transcend, so we created feminine transcendence. And so people might be like, okay, what does that actually mean, and how can I create that type of plan? So I'd love for you, Ashley, just to share what is a feminine transcendence plan.
Absolutely. So essentially, you know, what Chica and I share a lot about and talk a lot about is living a life in flow and moving away, for example, from hustle culture and creating a life that is aligned with, one, your priorities, your desires, and what your ultimate life looks like, right? But in order to do that, I really feel that you have to have a solid vision and plan for how you want to connect to your feminine energy and how that impacts the various areas of your life, right? And I talked about in my testimony, like what it looked like in my work relationships, what it looked like in my interpersonal relationships with friends, with partners, what it looks like in my home and how I feel in the spaces that I occupy, right? And once you get an opportunity to analyze these different areas of your life and identify what it is that is working extremely well and you think is actually helping you go deeper and build a much more connected relationship to your feminine energy, the better, or where you're feeling that you need to make a radical change. It could be in your health and in the workspace, so on and so forth. Now, mapping that out and having a lot of clarity around your unique gifts as the individual that you are. There's nobody like you walking on the earth right now, and you have to hold so much value in yourself. And those unique gifts get to permeate all of these areas of your life, right? And so drawing a connection to that, drawing a connection to how you are feeling from a mental perspective and a physical perspective, and then charting out what it looks like over the short, medium, and long term. And so this is something that we do with women in our programs, is kind of walking through what your feminine transcendence plan is and how to get crystal clear on the objectives that you're looking to achieve, why they're important for you, and what that would mean in your feminine transcendence journey. So yeah, that's what it looks like. And that's kind of the overview. I know that I've used this as a reconnection point. Chica had mentioned, like last week, I was like, going through so much. And I was just like, I need to use like my tools. And like, this is one that I, like went back to, like, why am I in this current situation? Why is there importance to it? What is it adding to my life? Why is it challenging right now? And because I know that it's challenging, what can I do to create ease and flow in my life around that challenging experience to shepherd myself through a difficult time? And this is like, you never want to kind of create an emergency plan when you're running out of a, burning building. You want to already have that in place. And that's what I look at my feminine transcendence plan. It's like a great safety net, but it's also something to aspire to. And it helps to guide me down this path. Yeah. So that's what it is, Chica.
Yeah, I love that, Ashley. And I want to bring up an example you use as far as the flowing river, right? Because as Ashley said, we like to flow. We like to live a life in flow. And so, for example, because I felt like I've just been doing so many activities and meeting with people and kind of a little bit out of balance in my normal routine, right? I've told myself this weekend, I'm spending time with me. Right. And I'm going to do some self care and I'm going to have some solitude. And it's because I have a plan in place, and so I'm very clear of when I've done a little too much and I need to kind of go back into the flowing river, right? So right now I'm feeling like, Ashley, what was the example you used? The gushing? Was it the river
I can
dam?
run through them really I can run through them quickly. So, when you have an area of your life where it's stagnant, right? Like it's just, you're not seeing a lot of movement. You're not really making a lot of action. You're not really where you want to be. I look at that as like a murky pond, right? There's just like not a lot of flow there. And then on the opposite extreme, when life is just getting so crazy, that's a whitewater rapid to me, right? It's like kind of out of your control. You have to, you want to stop it in some way. There's danger potentially ahead. And there can be areas of your life that, you're experiencing that. And then in the middle, and this is the state of flow, is like what I like to envision is like this babbling brook, right? It's just like this lovely stream, I don't know, in the middle of Switzerland or something with like a lot of flowers around. But that's where you have a lot of equanimity in your life. That's where you have a lot of, ease and enjoyment and joy. And so those are the three. And I like to kind of superimpose those three images across a number of areas of my life. So it could be my finances, it could be my personal relationships, it could be my work. And it gives you a very quick and easy indication of where you should be spending your time and energy, or where you should be maybe extracting to the energy that in an area that might be a little bit too overly active. So yeah, that's what it is.
Ooh, lovely, Ashley. I love the babbling brook. Where would mine be? It'd probably be somewhere in Zanzibar with the white sands and the blue ocean, and it's up to you to decide how that looks like. But I really love that breakdown. And speaking of visualization, one of the other things we always share is our feminine gifts. And the reason why I really stress on this in particular is because when we have these different conversations and we connect with women, I feel that quite often women see femininity in one light. And I always attribute that to YouTube. I do feel that there are some YouTube channels that make it seem as if femininity is about being like softer voice and there's a certain dress and a particular look, and this is how femininity is, and that's part of it. It can be a piece of femininity, but I also feel that the power of your feminine gift is within you. It's discovering what makes you unique, what makes you special, and really just diving deeper into that and then bringing that out for the world to see, right? That is our own feminine gift. My feminine gift may be quite different than Ashley. And interestingly, we created a quiz literally called Discover Your Feminine Gift. And this quiz has been taken by thousands of women. And at the end of the quiz, you'll figure out which feminine gift you are. And so funny enough, even though me and Ashley are both visionaries, that shows up in different ways. The way Ashley shows her visionary power is going to be different than the way I show mine. And the way that we kind of go deeper into that is even there's reflection, questions and conversations that we've had. There's just different activities to really have you reflecting on, okay, my feminine gift is, let's say, the transformer. And now I'm going to take time to really dive deep into what that gift is, how does that present itself, and really, how can it show up in my love life, in work, in, my family and friendships, right? And so I really do want more women to discover their feminine gift. I know for me, it's actually what kickstarted my journey, literally, when I discovered my gift and said, okay, how do I go deeper? And it just really changes your view of the world. So it's really a beautiful thing to discover.
Absolutely. I know my feminine gift, as Chica mentioned, I'm the visionary, but there are some other ones that I just absolutely love. Like the loyal queen is one of the gifts that I just love. I'm like, oh, I want to have a just touch of that, you know? But I just see so many women taking that quiz and just having a deeper understanding of themselves. And it's so fascinating to see how they take that. One other area that is super important in kind of kickstarting your feminine transcendence journey, and something that worked really well for me, is visualizing what that end state looks like for you in your life. And so we've talked about different areas of life, from finances to love life and beyond. But there's so much power in visualizing in order to manifest what it is that we want in our lives. And so Chica and I have developed resources around how to better visualize our feminine transcendence plan. I'm actually looking at mine right now. And so many things are just like speaking to me, just taking a look at it. It just like warms my heart. It makes me feel good. And it just gives me a really great reminder. So that's one thing that we also highly, highly recommend for those that, you know, some people don't really like traditional like vision boards. There's ways to do this digitally. I actually have a feminine transcendence board on my phone, a digital one and a physical one. That's how much I believe in this. So that's been really transformational. I know, Chica, you've been doing vision boards for years and have so many great stories about that and how it applies to the journey as well.
Yes, for me, I truly believe in it. There's something magical about, maybe 6 months ago, you put something in place on your vision board, and it could be digitally. I do it digitally, but I also love, there's just something special for me actually cutting out pictures and posting it on a board, but it really just depends on how best you visualize things. But I know for me, one of the memories that really sticks into mind was when I actually spent my 30th birthday in France, in the south of France. And it's interesting because 6 months ago, if you had said, Chica, you're going to spend your 30th in France on a beach, beautiful blue water, I would have been like, what are you talking about? Like, that doesn't even make sense. That doesn't align. That's not where I'm at. And it's funny because in the start of that year, I posted on my Transcendence board a cabana, right? And so I remember seeing the picture in a magazine, and I was just like, oh, this image speaks to me. I didn't really have any plans put in place. I didn't know why that specific image spoke to me, but I just posted it right there on my board. And then literally 6 months later, I manifested not only this trip to the south of France for my 30th, but it was fully taken care of, right? So can you imagine just a fully paid for trip and a beautiful, dreamy vacation? And it's something that was manifested 6 months ago, right? So I really believe in it as well. I know, Ashley, you probably have tons of stories. Actually, yours actually starts from childhood, really. So,
oh my goodness. I don't want to take too long because I want to yeah, I don't want to take too long about this, but yes, I've been visualizing and manifesting since I was 7.5 years old, and I have the receipts to show it, where I literally at 7.5 drew a picture book of me traveling around the world in different places, like in France and in Canada and in Japan and in Africa. And the crazy thing is, I'm not going to say how many years later, but many, many, many years later, I've done all of those things. I've lived in pretty much all of those places with the exception of Japan, but I have been to Japan. And I just, growing up, when I was 7.5 years old, I had no passport. I had never really been anywhere. I don't even know how I knew that these places existed, but it helped. When I think about like being able to take that first step forward, this is like where that movement comes from, right? And visualizing it and believing that this is actually possible for your future is so incredibly important. And it might take, one day, it might take 10 years to have that come together in the way that it was supposed to. But if you can really catapult yourself forward, I really believe that visualization, manifestation, and just leads to a much more abundant life in general. So maybe one day I'll share a little bit more on our Instagram, the photos, the receipts for my
Yes.
life manifestation.
Yes, especially because we talk a lot about the inner child. So I definitely feel that when we circle back on that conversation again, Ashley, that would be a great image for all of us to see. And so the other thing that I want to just share is that so me and Ashley have been working on something special, and we are going to reveal what that is in the next few days. But I do want to create an invitation, right? Where if you are saying to yourself, okay, Chica and Ashley are sharing something that resonates with me. It could be the vision board. It could be the feminine gift. It could be the feminine transcendence plan, or literally it could just be your curiosity around awakening your feminine being and just balancing the feminine and masculine energy. If any of that resonates with you and you're interested in taking a step towards that journey, then we have created something special that we're going to drop in a few days. And so you can sign up for that literally through our Instagram link. So at Women Who Transcend, we have the link there. It says get access to the Feminine Essence journey. And you can sign up. And in a few days, you will get access to what we have been working on. It's something really special. And I'm just really excited to reveal this because it's something that a lot of people in the community have been asking for. We've been serving, we've been connecting, we've been talking to so many women, and it is finally here. Ashley, do you have anything else that I think will be special for this moment to add?
The only thing that I would say is, there are a certain, times in our lives where we get to fundamentally shift the way that we live, the way that we think, the way that we experience life. And that's what reconnecting to my feminine energy was. It took me a while, but it's never too late to take that right step in the direction of the life that you really want to live. And I'm excited for every woman and man who takes agency over their lives and really is invested in their own interest and being the best person that they can be, whatever that looks like, right? And so that's the only thing that I want to say. And that's what my feminine essence reconnection has been. And so I hope that it's the same for others. I hope people feel this joy, feel this reconnection, feel this amount of just like love for self and for others. It's just such a great feeling. So that's the only thing that I want to add.
Amazing. And I just want to say thank you for each and every one of you for joining us in this session. Of course, there's so many different ways you can continue to connect with us, which is our Divine Feminine Awakening Clubhouse. We have conversations every Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so on Thursday, we're going to have another conversation, of course, to really dive deeper into these topics. And then, of course, our Instagram at Women Who Transcend. And then if there's just any resources or just we want to listen to our podcast, make sure to listen to us at www.womenwhotranscend.com.